Thanks for waiting, guys. Sorry about that. I don't have my notes. Very prepared this evening. Yeah, you can take your pizza. Come on, let's go. We're late. Fight of the night was the Van Buren fight. You guys know all the bonuses already? Conor McGregor got the other bonus, and then the other one went to Larkin. And here's my notes. Gate was 1.34 million, and there were 13,828 people here tonight. Who's first? Conor will be here in a second.
So obviously, I know you like coming back here. This one felt a little bit different than past times for obvious reasons. Take us through a little bit. You know, did it live up to the hype for you this whole night and this whole week?
Yeah, I mean, we sold for this fight. We sold more tickets than we've ever sold here in Boston for any of the fights that we've ever done, you know, the main event. I think 12% of ticket sales were from Ireland. So yeah, it lived up to the hype. I mean, people had a lot. People have a lot of questions about Conor McGregor, and he looked damn good tonight.
What was
and I know there's a lot of talk about the under promotion of Dennis Seaver. You know, Dennis Seaver is the number 10 ranked guy in the world. Dennis Seaver, you know, felt very disrespected by a lot of things Conor said, and he came in here to win tonight, man. And he's a tough, durable guy with a lot of finishes, and you know.
Let me get your take on Conor scaling the fence and the little altercation with Mr. Aldo.
Conor's what?
With him scaling the fence and getting in all those.
Yeah,
things.
you know, I was actually in the back, and I was watching. I was like, why are they not letting him see his family? I thought he was going to see his family. And then I realized he was going after Aldo, you know?
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It is what it is. It happened. It's Conor. It's his personality. It's the way he is. And
then obviously I know that.
As long as they don't touch each other.
Sure. I kind of know the answer, but I have to ask. Do you have a timetable for those two fighting, and do you have a location?
We're looking at May in Vegas.
May in Vegas. So Croke Park didn't get done.
Right. There's a lot of obstacles for Croke Park. The time, you know, they have a curfew at night where you can't get permits to stay out that late and do an event there. You lose about 25 to 30% on pay-per-view being in another country. The amount of money in production for Croke Park be outside. I can guarantee you it's going to rain. I'm not a meteorologist, but I'll bet you it's going to rain. You know, I'm not saying we're never going to do it, but Vegas for this one.
And then let me get your thoughts real quick on the scoring of two fights. The Pendred fight, which I think I heard you say on the broadcast you were surprised at, and then obviously the co-main event between Cowboy and Benson.
I had them both the other way. I had them both the opposite of the scoring, what the judges scored it. But I always say, don't leave it in the hands of the judges. You want to win that fight, win the fight.
Then if I could go to Cowboy real quick, congratulations on the win, obviously. I saw your quote that you gave the UFC afterwards that you weren't going to really celebrate this one. Can you elaborate a little bit on that for starters?
Just, you know, Ben's a inside and out of the cage, a good friend of mine, you know, so definitely a tough win. And so celebrating, you know, I don't know. 7 in a row, man. I feel good. It's time to take some time off, talk with Dana and Lorenzo after this, and, you know, go see the Super Bowl and go to Daytona 500 and kind of just hang out.
I don't think we've ever heard you use those words before, take time off.
Yeah.
So is that legit?
Yes.
You didn't seem to throw as many kicks as people maybe would have expected you to throw tonight.
Yeah, I figured every time I kicked, Ben was going to try and take me down. So, yeah, absolutely. I thought that fight was going to be more of a wrestling match, and so I was definitely timid.
And then if I could go to Conor real quick, obviously, since he just walked in. Down here, bud. That pretty much went the way you planned it, except for the round, like you said. So was there anything about the fight that was that you didn't expect?
No, I felt it went exactly as I said the 2-minute mark. But as it came closer, I was thinking, I don't want to rush this. I want to get in and I want to feel this. This is a sold out. This is a record breaking gate here for the TD Garden in Boston on the weekend that the football is on. and we still sold that motherfucker out. So I wanted to get in there, and I wanted to feel that. I wanted to find comfort in there and find calm. This is my third contest back to back to back from ACL surgery, so I felt in I felt in the Brandao fight I was a bit rushed. I felt in the Poirier fight I tried to force some exchanges. So this time I wanted to feel it, and although I felt the 2-minute mark, and that's what I truly felt in the lead up, on the day and on the couple of days before, I was thinking, I'm not gonna rush this. I don't need to rush this. I wanna spend more time in there. You know what I mean? This is, for me, everything else. I don't like everything else. The media stuff, you know, it's hard work what we do, you know, but we get rewarded for it, and it is definitely. I see the benefits of it. You know, that event sold out, and it's on the weekend that the NFL or that big American football game was on. You know, that stuff doesn't happen over this side of the pond. So I wanted to get in and just be loose and have find comfort in there and get more minutes on the clock.
And then last one real quick. Dana told us earlier that they're looking at May in Las Vegas for you against Jose Aldo. Is that a timetable that you're comfortable with, and as a location that you're happy to have?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely perfect. Of course, the stadium is a dream of mine, you know, a vision of mine. And I think maybe the visions they're getting there. Maybe I said 2 minutes, it was 2 rounds. There's something, I'm onto something. I'm just growing with it. But Vegas, I'm happy with Vegas. We discussed, as you can see, it's tradition. I remove a head, I bring it backstage, I place it on Mr. Fertitta and Mr. White's desk. Here you go, boss. Another one done. And then we discuss big business. So we went and we discussed big business. And big business just happens to be in Viva Las Vegas. So we are going to go to Las Vegas, and one more head will be collected.
Conor, right here in front of you. Congratulations on the victory. You are 100% healthy coming out of this, though, correct?
I'm fresh as a daisy. How good does the hooligan look? In his 3-piece. Fucking animal. Man, man. Here you go, brother. How's that one? That's a Middleton Rare, yeah? That's a 20-gram bottle of whiskey. But I'm fresh. Absolutely fresh. Ready to go again. Back to back to back. KOs. Off of the biggest injury of my career, you know what I mean? People seem to think it's all talk. You have rookies, pussies making these little videos. Well, your man Ricardo Lamas' video, man. Holy Jesus. Think of the amount of effort he went to make that stupid video. And then Jose making these posters and all. They all think it's fun and games. I'm not playing here. And now it's time. Now we have a location. Now Jose is next in line, and he will be the next one to learn that it's not all talk and it's no joke. Dennis as well, and I respect Dennis. He's a veteran of the game. He made mistakes in the past with his steroid abuse and whatnot, but I respect him at the end of the day. He's had more UFC fights than I've had fights, but he was another one. He's all talk. It's a joke, or I don't know what the fuck did he be saying, but this is not a joke. I'm not messing around here. I said I was going to kill everybody and wipe out the division. Now we have one man left.
I mean, your decision to jump over the cage and go directly to Aldo, can you kind of talk about what makes you do that and what you're thinking when you do something like that?
I don't know. I just seen his little skinny Brazilian head, and I knew they flew him over there, and I was like, "What's he sitting there front row?" And I dived over, and they thought I was going to see me girlfriend or hug me girlfriend. I thought they must have thought I was a romantic, but I was going to kill that little Brazilian. But Pat Lorenzo's right hand intervened, and thankfully, because I like money, and when fights happen outside the octagon, money they take your money. So I want to keep my money.
And when you do something like that, I mean, I'm sure that Aldo was not expecting it. What did you see out of him? I mean, what was his reaction to you going after him in your mind?
I don't know. I just see a skinny little Brazilian. They all seem small to me. You know, making this way, it's hard work making this way, but I make it correct. I make it professionally. And when I'm in there against these people, they're small. there is no pop. There is no. They seem timid. So I just looking at him. He looked like a little skinny Brazilian from the favelas. That was it. Same as the way Diego looked, little 12-year-old boy body. So I feel when we collide, he will collapse.
One last question for you. You seemed like you were kind of proud of the fact that you came in at 145 pounds yesterday. Was that by design, or was that something that you just happened to overshoot it yesterday?
I knew it was the championship was on the line here. I knew I was number one contender. I did not want to make 146 because 146 you're a pound over. So I wanted to, and I've made 140. I've never made 145 in the UFC. So I wanted to make that little put that little stamp on it. That's 145. That's championship weight. Tell Jose I'm coming.
Question for Connor. So after the fight, you expressed frustration with people saying that you're all talk, and yet during the fight, I think I saw you give Seaver the finger to start. Afterwards, you gave the FU to Aldo. Do you have the fight before the co-main event? You saw two guys hugging to start the third round. Is there something in you that you have to hate your opponent to fight him? Is what goes into demonizing these guys?
I don't hate any man here. We are all chasing the same dream. Whatever was said between me and Dennis, as far as I'm concerned, I spoke fact. He abused steroids and came into a contest against another man juiced up. So, and then he's talking about me speaking about and me being disrespectful. So whatever was said between myself and Dennis throughout the build-up was build-up. When we came face to face and it was time to fight, I put my hand out to touch the glove. I gave him that opportunity to just, this is it, let's fight. If you can bring it, let's bring it. I threw my glove out. He didn't respond, so I said, "Fuck it, you're the cheat. I'm the guy that's coming in here, prepared and ready through my own body. You know what I mean? I never done something like that. You know what I mean? and then the Lamas video, that stupid video. I'm like, I swear I can't even get over that video. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. I looked down into the crowd. I seen 40 chins. And then I climbed up them 40 chins, and it was Ricardo Lamas. So I gave him the finger as well. So I seen him in the hotel with a big box of pizza. Now I'm talking about 22-inch pizza, and on top of the 22-inch pizza was a big can of Pepsi or Coke. Who'll we signed by? Coke or Pepsi? If we're not signed by nobody, cola, soda. You know what I'm saying? He's a big fat mess making stupid videos. Get in the gym and perform impressive and climb up that ladder. You fought like a pussy when you fought Jose. So he's a pussy. And then I'm looking out into the crowd and I seen Jose with my face on a Joker poster or something like that. I don't know what that was about. They all think it's fun and games. I'm not playing here. I'm not playing. The only thing that stopped me from smacking Jose and stiffening him up in the crowd was the money. Because I love the money.
Question for Cowboy. You fought a guy, flip side of that, you fought a guy who was your friend. And, I mean, does that alter things for you, or are you just a pro and you're going out there fighting whoever's in front of you? You not have to hate the guy or dislike him to fight him. You fight your friend, you fight anywhere, anytime. I mean, what's your mentality going into a fight with a guy like Ben?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I talk that I'll fight anyone, anytime, and there was something in the back of my mind, you know, fighting Ben for sure. That was a friend, but no, I don't have any problem fighting anybody. Doesn't matter.
Are you still planning to do Colorado? Or is that off the?
I think that's off.
Okay.
A question for Dennis. After having fought Connor, what can you tell us about what he does well?
Nachdem du jetzt gegen Conor gekämpft hast, was kann er wirklich gut?
Das Beste, was er kann, ist reden. Das kann man ihm nicht nehmen. Aber er ist kein schlechter Kämpfer. Also ich muss jetzt zugeben, er war nicht schlecht heute Abend. Er war besser als ich. Was er gut macht, ist natürlich, er hat sehr gutes Auge. Er kontert sehr gut und hat lange Reichweite. Deswegen habe ich meine Probleme gehabt, ihn zu treffen.
The one thing Connor does really well is talk, but he also proved tonight that he can do more than talk. He can fight. He was actually better than me tonight. He was not just average, he was better than me. And one thing that is really good about his style is he has a very good eye for distances. He could judge a distance very well.
Dana, Jose told the media that he declined to come into the cage to do the post-fight face-off. Can you talk about that? Is that something that you feel is a missed opportunity for promotion? What does that mean that he declined?
No,
that?
I mean he's superstitious. He says he doesn't like to step into the octagon unless he's fighting. So he's superstitious about it, and that's why we did it with Rogan stand-up. Apparently nobody told Rogan that, so it got a little awkward and weird there for a moment.
Tell you what, superstitions and rituals. I need to wear my lucky jocks. I need these lucky pants or I can't fight. It's a ritual or a superstition, or I need certain things to happen for the contest to happen. But superstitions and rituals isn't for me, and it always has been. It's another word for fear. So he should have came into the fucking octagon. I mean, what more does he want? Come in and say what he has to say. He keeps saying all these things, but face to face, he don't say nothing. That's all I know.
A question for Donald. Khabib or a title shot next?
Talking with Dana and Lorenzo, I think Khabib's going to be what's next for sure. Like I said, I'm going to take some time off and just get ready and stay ready, and hopefully Khabib will be ready, or I don't know. Whatever's next, I'm willing to take up and fight. So,
Final question for me. Dana, when you're watching Conor perform tonight, what are you thinking? What's striking you in particular?
The question is when you meet a guy, like I said, that the first time I ever met Conor, first time I ever heard of Conor was in Ireland. I was in Ireland at Trinity College getting an award from them, and everybody was talking about Conor McGregor. So I came home and I said, who the hell is Conor McGregor? I told the guys to sign him. We ended up signing the kid. He comes out to Las Vegas, the video everybody saw when we're driving down the strip in Vegas. But, I told Lorenzo, I said, I don't know if this kid can fight, man, but if he can even throw a punch, this kid's going to be huge. And the big question is, when you have a kid like this, the thing that was very impressive to me, Max Holloway is a guy who I have a lot of respect for as a fighter. And the way Conor fight him and the way Conor beat him with a blown ACL, and then he comes in here 100% healthy, and look at the things he's able to do. Like I said earlier, the Dennis Siver's a top 10 ranked guy who's finished a lot of people in the UFC. He's been in big fights. He's been in fights in his home country, and Conor looked amazing tonight. He is the real deal. You saw it. You know exactly what I'm saying. My phone was blowing up. With people saying, "Holy shit, this kid's the real deal."
I lied, one more. The pay-per-view thing you said about 25-30% off for an international show. Why is that such a given? Why is that a rule? Why couldn't Conor not see that same regression?
You could be right. It is basically, it's not a rule, it's a fact. Fact. You can ask Bob Arum, you can ask any of the big boxing guys, they'll tell you the same thing.
You know why that is?
Well, you don't get the same media coverage here in the United States that you do for fighters here in this country. For whatever reason that is, you don't get the, you're not going to have ESPN there covering it. They're not going to set up a booth over there, and you're just not going to get the same media coverage. I think that's the biggest reason.
For Uriah Hall, hey, we talked yesterday about you performing up to your expectations and how you were calmer. When you came out and you were singing your song, instantly all of us just were like, oof, he's come to fight. Do you believe you fought the way you know you can?
Not really. I wanted to do a little more. I didn't know too much about the guy, so he came out there. He came in a little weird, a little different than I expected. I didn't realize I threw that right hand. It happened so quick, but shit happens.
And Dana, you're from Boston, yeah?
Yep.
What's it like for you as someone who's from here, and this would have never happened? What's it like for you as a company owner and as a person to come back and say, I brought this back. This is here. This is this great sport, and we've improved it. And the way it was when you left, this would have never happened. And now you're back, and you bring all these athletes. What's it like for you to see this?
Just like a fighter, a fighter always dreams to fight in his hometown, have a big fight in their hometown, and anytime I can come back here and put on an event and have it be successful, and it's awesome. It's we do events. We're gonna be in Sweden next week, and then after that we're gonna be back in Vegas, and the list goes on and on. The fights just keep rolling. So fights like this are special and they're great. And I had tons of friends and family, that I hung out with all week. So it's awesome.
Dana, on the hometown front, you obviously had a couple Boston fighters tonight: Rosa, Howard, Pendleton. I'm curious, what happens to John Howard now? This guy sort of made quite a name for himself in Boston, quite a part of the combat sports scene here. It's his third loss in a row. Is he done in the UFC?
I never say, guys. Let me tell you about John Howard. He brings it every time he comes to fight. We've proven time and time again we like guys that come and go for it, and he's definitely one of those type of guys.
So I'm guessing you haven't made a decision on him yet then with the three.
No, and even if John Howard wasn't with us anymore, he'd go get some fights in another organization. He will win, and he'd be back.
Back to the Croke Park pay-per-view thing about how you couldn't possibly do it over there. Croke Park.
We could possibly do it there,
but in terms of the pay-per-view, you got that stadium holds 90,000. It holds 90,000. I think it's actually 93. You could get up to 100,000 people. That's a huge field. Couldn't you make up some of the what you lose on pay-per-views in just terms of sheer attendance alone?
So with 91,000 people there, you actually do a bigger gate in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Probably $2 million more.
Why is that?
Because when you do a when you're in a stadium that big, the production costs. We got to put up big screens. We definitely got to build something over the octagon because it will rain. That's a fact too. I'm not a meteorologist, but I'll tell you this: it will rain there. And there's a lot of things you have to do in an arena like that you wouldn't do in Vegas.
This question's for Dennis. One thing I noticed during the fight is Conor kept a significant distance between the two. How would you advise another fighter to sort of close that down? Because you looked like a couple times you tried to make a takedown and you just couldn't make it happen.
Eine Sache, die aufgefallen ist, dass Conor immer sehr weit von der weggestanden ist. Was würdest du einem anderen Kämpfer empfehlen, der gegen Conor antritt, um diese Distanz zuzumachen?
Das ist eine gute Frage. Wenn ich das genau wüsste, würde ich das jetzt im Kampf selber machen. Ja, da habe ich keine Antwort dafür. Da müssen die mal gucken, probieren und ja, hoffentlich klappt's.
It's a pretty good question, but if he had known the answer, he would have used it in the fight, so they're going to have to try for themselves.
All right, right here. Dana, how are you feeling as far as, do you feel a little worn out? And, did you have any nerves before the card? I mean, you guys put a lot of effort into, on the assumption that things would turn out the way they did. So how do you feel right now?
One thing, people will look at something and say, oh, look, again, to talk about Dennis Siver, that, oh, he wasn't promoted enough and everything else. Well, let me tell you what. We promoted this fight. It was huge. It was, I don't know if any of you got to see the NFC Championship, but Fox promoted this fight like crazy, Conor worked hard on this fight. Conor had a lot of work to do to sell this fight. On FX, they did a movie marathon. They did Gangs of New York and The Fighter, and Conor was in all the interstitials for that thing. He did tons of media here in the United States. A lot of hard work and promotion went into this fight, but at the end of the day, whoever wins, wins. People always think there's some big conspiracy theory or anything. He's fighting Dennis Siver tonight. He fought Dennis Siver tonight. Dennis Siver is here. There was a lot of promotion for Dennis Siver too, but Conor was here on the ground doing all the legwork. And we don't determine who wins. These guys do. They determine who wins. At the end of the night, we just got a television deal in Germany. If Dennis won, Dennis would have won. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it.
And Uriah, I think this might be your second opponent that couldn't continue. And I think your reaction both times was disappointment, even though you're the one who caused that to happen. So can you talk about that?
I just want a little more, that's all. I want to go a little more. It ended quick. My team was yelling at me, let him up. I heard him, but then I was like, let me just let him up, and hopefully we can bang, or I can knock him out a little, fashionably or whatever. But the ref come in and the doc came in and they stopped it. So I just wanted to go a little more. You train that long for a fight. I mean, the win is a win, but I just want a little more. That's all.
And Glazen, looks like right now after this last fight, you're only behind GSP and Matt Hughes as far as victories in the UFC, and you're only behind Tito Ortiz and Matt Hughes as far as the number of fights. How do you feel about that?
Eu estou muito feliz em chegar esse tempo todo na organização como UFC. Eu vi o crescimento, entrei no UFC em 2006 e hoje eu vim crescendo junto com o evento. Até hoje está totalmente diferente o esporte, que eu comecei lá no Nordeste, no Brasil, era o Vale Todo, e hoje o UFC fez essa explosão do esporte. Então eu fico muito feliz e muito grato em estar até hoje nessa organização.
I started in the UFC in 2008, and I kind of like grew up with the UFC, and I'm really happy to be part of the history. And when I started back in Natal and in Rio Grande do Norte, it was very small, and now that I see what the proportion is, is nowadays, I'm really happy to be part of it.
Last question. Patrick, you've been a little quiet there, so why don't you tell us how you feel tonight?
Awesome.
The hooligan. What was the bonuses?
The bonuses went to Van Buren and O'Connell. You won one, and Larkin. Split it with him. You'll share your whiskey, but not your money, I see.
My question is for Conor. So last time you were here, you were on the undercard, but you still got the blackout treatment. And this time you're headlining and got the blackout treatment again. But of course, it felt like a way bigger event. What was the experience like for you this time around? And what were your emotions, going to the octagon and seeing like the garden all green like that?
Yeah, honestly, I felt absolutely amazing walking out, and then I looked up at the screen, and then I seen the Notorious written down me side, and I seen the McGregor crest on my shoulder. I'm looking up at the screen, I seen the Reebok crest on my other shoulder, and I'm thinking, and then I'm seeing the packed out arena and the Irish flags and the fans, everything. I'm thinking, this is it now. I've done it. I've made it. I put in, as Dana said, I did a hell of a lot of work for this. I believe I'm the highest paid on this card today, and I feel I do deserve that. I put in serious amount of work with this promotion. But walking out, I just was the fact that the amount of work went into it, and so much interviews and so much media stuff, and back to back. I'm talking 14-hour days. The average man works 9-10 hours a day and gets a lunch break. My lunch break was an interview. You know what I mean? An interview of someone trying to get into my emotions and trying to feel. So how does your feelings feel when you feel things? You know what I mean? It's tough, but I put the work in. I knew it would pay off, and it did. This is, as I said, that NFL game was on. It was one of the biggest games of the year, and it was to do with the Boston people. But yeah, we still broke records on that game. So the work paid off, and I am happy. I'm happy right now. What can I say?
We'll take one more question.
Well, speaking of the NFL,
We'll do him and then you.
Speaking of the NFL, we're going to see you at the Super Bowl, Dana.
Yes, I will be at the Super Bowl.
Dana, can I jump in there for a second after him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dana, were there any efforts to get this fight on German television after last week's news, or even maybe on the Bild newspaper website, which has been done in the past? And then also, if you can tell us anything about a possible German TV deal going forward?
You know what? Obviously, yes, we're very excited about that, and we're working on it. We've been working on Germany for a long time. But Gary Cook would know about that. I have no idea how far we are, where we're at on it. Go ahead.
Just 3 very quick ones for Conor. Just wondering, Conor, since you've mentioned it a few times, are you getting tired of the media? Are you tired of talking to us? You've brought this up a few times this week.
Putting these gloves on, yeah, in case any of these media keep at. It's tough. I'm not gonna lie. We're talking. How can you answer the same question a million times over? Like literally, I'm talking the exact same questions over and over and over. Eventually, become a robot. But we sell out the TD Garden. I can't wait to hear the gate. How much was the gate?
It was 1.34.
What? 1 point what?
3-4.
That's a lot of money. And then I can't wait to hear them Fox Sports 1 numbers. Again, that NFL game was on. I understand why it is done. We got to do it. But you're damn right it's tough. And I mean, it's tough cutting weight. Give me food. Give me food and give me a bit of sleep. And I'll talk to anyone. But take away the food, limit the sleep, up the training, and ask me the same question 50 million times over. You're damn right it's tough. You're a good guy, Ariel. You ask deeper questions, you know what I mean? So you're cool in my book. But there is a lot that I feel like, for instance, in the Boston build-up, I done like morning shows, and then I done brunch shows, and then I done breakfast shows, and then I done lunch shows, and then I done afternoon shows, and I done so many shows, and I'm looking at these the camera is a weird thing. You put a camera in front of someone, they act differently, they speak differently, it's weird. But I'm looking at these people asking me these questions, and I just know that they don't give a shit what they are asking me, and I don't care what I'm telling them either, but we are just in this little bubble that we must do this. It's like it's a weird little thing, you know. When I'm looking at some guy that works on a 7.
We got to wrap this up before the whiskey kicks in here.
What
question do you have? You already interviewed him outside and asked him 50 questions. What do you got next?
2 things I didn't ask him. What's your prediction for pay-per-views against Aldo?
What was Jones Cormier 750? Looking at John, you know, I certainly feel we will break the Jones Cormier. This is the beginning of the McGregor era, and the McGregor era is a record breaker. I've been breaking records since I arrived, in all different platforms. Pay-per-view will be no different. The UFC 178 pay-per-view, McGregor versus Poirier, co-main Cowboy versus Alvarez, co-main Mighty Mouse versus Carriazo, done more pay-per-view buys than Aldo Mendez. So I am well aware that McGregor equals money. So that is it. I feel we will break records with this.
And then the final one, a big story this week is that the UFC signed the last man to ever defeat you, Joseph Duffy. This has been a big way that people describe him. Last man to they always say that when they say his name. Is this guy sitting up here? Is it the same guy who fought him all those years ago?
It's certainly not the same guy that fought him many years ago. You know, we fought in a different era. But again, are we talking pay-per-view numbers? Are we talking a fight that could sell? Let's say Jose pussies out and doesn't show up in Vegas. Let's bring in the last man to beat Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? That sells as well. Well, to be honest, I signed Joseph, yeah. I actually looked and thought, you know what, if someone pulls out, Joseph can slot in. But Joseph is a good guy, and we fought many years ago. It was a different era. But if that fight presents itself, you best believe I want that fight. You know, there was another guy that beat me, a little Lithuanian, in 2007 when I was a boxer with an overhand left. That's all I had. I had an overhand left that I was convinced that nobody could take. And then I stepped in the ring with some little Lithuanian, skinny, small, tiny motherfucker, and he wrapped around my leg and caught me in a leg lock. And Paddy whooped his ass about 3 years later. You know, when we understood, Paddy ended up triangling him. But if we want to, we'll sign him maybe down the line as well. Fuck it. And if we need, we can promote him as the fucking last man, the second last man to be the Notorious. It's all good. I just want to compete.
Thank you guys. Have a great night. It's great to see you. Thank you, Boston.